In the famous words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in hopes that we wouldn't say it first, but truth must be told. And the ancestors are looking out for us. Todd Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Shalom alaikum. Peace be
Young
unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
We back at you with another one, Young Elder Gang. Because we saw that when we was talking about the Black Hand guys, that y'all kind of like raised the little eyebrows a little. So we'll get into it because we was at the end, we was going in telling you that that the pale-faced God, that there wasn't no pale-faced God theme until just recently. That Zeus was a Nubian brother. Like all them gods in the original Greeks were Nubians. The original Romans were Nubians. The Romans are the Moors. The man who roamed. Arabia, or Arab, means those who roam. Right? Everybody get to it because it's an interesting story because a lot of this information was in the holy tablets and in a book, some books that the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, put out called, and I got these books in my storage. I'm about to go get some of them books out so I can show y'all what's in my library. But it's a book called, what's the name? It's two books. It's volume 1 and volume 2. I'll think of it in a minute, by Dr. Malachi Z. York. The Millennial books. Thank you, Doc. Millennial books. Millennial book for you old heads. The Millennial books, part 1, volume 1 and volume 2. Doc talked about the Black Hand in them books, right? The Jacobites. The Jacobites is another name for them, right? And he taught even the storyline of the three Ruffins, that he go allude to that fact in the Millennial books about the three Ruffins were the three older sons of the Jacobites, or Jacob, right? Three Ruffins, the assassins who came to knock the builder on top of the head. Keep in mind that in this scenario, the builder is you people, you American Negroes, those beings who still need to grow. Right? In the scenario, you are the builder, you are the Washita, you are the pyramid builders, the Mound Builders, right? And you were the beings that were hit in the head and forgot. Because when you knock a man in the head, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he suffer from amnesia and he can forget. And he can walk around calling himself black when you can go look up in their terminology, and black is not even a people, it's not even a noun. In order to be classified as a people, it had to be classified as a noun, and black is an adjective. So these people, they've been hit in the head. They walking around instead of calling themselves Washita, Shinnecock, Apache, right? Yamasee, Shoshone, etc. They walking around lost and suffer from amnesia. And the things that did you like this, they avatars and dark skinned avatars. About to get into it. Hey, shout out my big bro Rod, because I read a lot of this in the Holy Tablets, but I ain't never put it together. I ain't never put it together like I could put it together now. And to my big bro Rod. Big bro Rod really fingered the black hand. He really made it clear for me on who these guys are and what they all about. And then once he put me on their trail, I'm like Mr. McGruff. Once you put me on somebody, I'm on them. And so I found out a lot about these guys and what they all about. I'm about to give it to you right here. They are the black hand, white glove, right? It's a black hand, but they use a white glove, so you would think that it's the pale face that's doing you. And they the one that promote the pale God to us over here in America. They the one that promote the pale God. They promote everything pale to us, these guys, but they look like us, right? These guys, they look like us, but they ain't us. And keep in mind, Rod Hayes was the first one to say that, even way before Kendrick Lamar put the song out. That's why I got to think that Kendrick Lamar must watch Rod Hayes, because Rod was the first one to say, they on my page, they look like us, but they ain't us. He's the first one to see it. And then about like a year, maybe 8-9 months later, maybe even longer than that, Kendrick Lamar come out with the song "They Not Like Us," and it goes the biggest song, one of the biggest diss records in the history of American music, right? And we're gonna get into these guys, because these are the guys that got gold countertops and marble countertops inside of their house, or fish tanks with exotic fish that cost $1 million for one fish. You know what I'm saying? These type of guys, right? The type of guys that eat mermaids, right? I'm telling you, we got to get through it. Now, when Rod put, like I say, Doc had already franked the guy, because in the Holy Tablets, in the story of Muhammad, Doc alluded to the fact that it was dark-skinned Jewish people that poisoned Muhammad. Now, you might say, why would the dark-skinned Jewish guys want to poison Muhammad? I kind of put that together too, that they didn't want the staff to pass, where it passed from Bilal to Muhammad. So they didn't want that. They didn't want that staff to pass to these other guys. So they to Shiloh, right? Because they was waiting on Shiloh to come. We can get into that. We already got tapes on that in the Islamic file on was Muhammad, Shiloh, and etc. Right? They didn't want Shiloh to get that staff, so these Jacobites put him out of business, right? Try to put Muhammad out of business, right? Because it passed from Bilal down to Muhammad, right? We can get into it, but we're getting up to the dark-skinned Jewish guys poison Muhammad, and then Doc talk about that. But then, like I read that a couple times, but I didn't put it together that, hey man, well, I just considered that, hey, well, all Jewish guys are dark, and that, maybe that was a bad bunch, right? But nah, it's a different group. This is a whole different group that Doc was pointing out, and he pointed them out in the Millennial book. Like I said, Volume 1, Volume 2, for you old heads that might have that book on the shelf. Shout out Raguel, the 12th elder. He sent me those 2 volumes out of his own collection, right? The Millennial books, right? And so, Doc go in on the storyline of these Jacobites coming to ancient Kemet. You might know them as the Hyksos dynasty, but they wasn't pale-faced guys. They were dark-skinned guys who used pale-face as their front man. Now, speeding up to how the black hand put on the white glove. Now, about around 1476, these black hand guys who call themselves Moors, but they don't say that they black. They got communities up in New Jersey and New York and They call themselves the Moor Mans, right? In Utah, and they got gated communities in Utah, and they go by the Moor Mans, right? You hear it, right? And they the ones that took over Mount Rushmore, right? We can get into that too. But these guys, they said that they're not black, they free white man. But if you look at them, they blacker than me. But they said they free white man. That's what they call it. Oh yeah, we ain't black, we free white man, right? On record, our status is free white man, right? And then you say, well, how do you feel? Then they pull out a passport and it actually says white man on the passport. It says free white man, like yeah, on the passport. Their status is white, but they blacker than me. They blacker than my glass, the top of my glass. You know what I'm saying? And Booker T alludes to the fact in his book Up for Slavery. I can't remember what page it was exactly, but he says on his analogies, he saw one of these black Jewish guys go to a hotel that said white only, the white only hotel, and then when he went in there, they denied him of the hotel. But then the dude said, "Oh no, I ain't black," and then he showed them some paperwork, passport or something. And then they gave him a room. And then Booker T said, based off of that analogies, it must not be the color of the skin. This must be some kind of status quote or something. This ain't got nothing to do with color. That's what Booker T analogies was on. What status when they talking about ethnic groups, right? In his book Up for Slavery, I got that book too, right? What I was gonna say, yeah. So we going into this. What I'm telling you. So we come to find out we trace these guys out of ancient Kemet. They end up going to Transylvania, and then they got ran out of Transylvania because a group of beings was hunting these guys. Now, the group of beings that were hunting these guys stemmed down from the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, and they one of the groups' name were the Medjays. Go look at these guys. Matter of fact, let me share my screen, because some people say Young just be talking. Maybe we can pull some of this stuff up and show you while we going. Let's see what it let me share my screen. It won't even let me. Okay, there you go. Let's see, can we pull the internet up? They call the Medjays. Let's look them up. And they are far people. They hunted these guys out of ancient Kemet, and they consider them as vampires. And they kind of allude to the storyline in the movie Vampire from Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is the Medjays. The Nubian, look what it says right here. It says, look up, spell M. And it's another way you can spell it, because but it's Mejay, right? Can refer to several things, including a historical group of Nubian warriors serving in the Egyptian military, right? They say it's a fictional group, but it's not a fictional group. They still exist now, these guys. And they said that they were mommy warriors. Why? Because they said that these guys had special powers. Right, these Medjays had special powers. Why? Because hold on. Let me go back because I want to pull up. See if I can pull up a picture of these guys. Right, the Afar people, the Fuzzy Wuzzies, is another name for them. Hold on. This what they look like right here. These are our ancestors. The Williams come from these people. Right, the tribe of Jesus' ancestors, Yahshua people. These are Yahshua people. Can you see that? All right, so I'm gonna lead it up while I talk on these guys. Now, these are the Medjays. They were the guys that were hunting these black hand guys and chasing them up out of ancient Kemet. You can get a storyline of Akhmos and Khakmos. We got pictures of them too. They were a Twa mixed with a Far, because their dad was a Twa. He was the builder. His name is Sukente Ray To. Let me show y'all this. Now, I don't know if I can show his skull, because I think they flagged me last time for showing Sukente Ray To, but Sukente Ray To, which is Akhmos and Khakmos' dad, he the one that got hit in the head 3 times with a mallet for you square business guys. It wasn't no guy, Hiram or Biff. that guy didn't exist. They made him up. The guy's real name is Sukente Reto, who is Akmos and Kakmos' dad. And like I say, these guys connect with them guys because they were the guys that Kakmos and them sent to go get rid of the Hyksos, to really hunt the ruler down of the Hyksos who had put the hit on their dad, who sent the Jacobites to take them out. Right, we can get into that. Enlil was Opapus, the ruler of Apap, the ruler of the Hyksos. Right, we can get to that because it's different perspectives on it, but we're gonna just give you this storyline. Yeah, the Williams come from these people, the Millers, the Yorks, they call the Afar people. Right, pull up a picture. I don't know if you all you people that's with us, like the Nuwapians and Sabines. I don't know if y'all familiar with Malachi's son named Fascist Camel. I think it's his last name. Malachi's son. You can look at him, and I can show you a picture of Afar, and he looks just like him. Even Lil Akmos. Shout out Lil Akmos. Malachi's son, Lil Akmos. You can tell he Afar. You can look at him. Lil Akmos, right? So yeah, you can tell Malachi is Afar from his mother, and his dad is a Dinka, right? And the Afar people was over here too. Don't let them fool you. The Medjays were chasing these people all over, these dark hand guys, right? And they chased them up out of ancient Kemet to a place called Transylvania, and then they traced them up into Transylvania, and these guys were alchemists because they said that these guys had special powers, where they can look like the army of the dead and all this. Because keep in mind, we taught in the craft of Amun, which is the same thing as the Melchizedek. Melchizedek and Amun is the same person, right? In the craft of the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, we taught different alchemical things, and some of the stuff they allude to like magical powers, but some of the stuff is these guys knew about certain hallucinating poisonous things that they can put on their spear or that they can put on their darts, and then when they shoot somebody or stab them with it, they start seeing ghosts and all kind of stuff. We got into that with the Haitians, right? What happened with the French and the Haitians. But like I said, these people chase these guys out to Transylvania, and then they chased them too because they considered them as vampires. Not these guys. These guys were the vampire hunters. The Medjays were the vampire hunters, and they chased these guys to Transylvania, then to Switzerland, and that's how they get to Switzerland. And when they got to Switzerland, they tried to go underground, and that's why a lot of their wealth center, these black hand guys, their wealth center is in Switzerland. They show you in Harry Potter where they show you these underground system where these witches and warlocks, because the witches have teamed up with these guys to help them out. The bad witches have teamed up with the vampires, who are these dark-skinned black guys who they've been chasing the whole time. And like I said, then they went to Switzerland and chased them. Some of them stayed there and hid underground. Some of them, a little remnants of them went underground under the mountains in Transylvania. And then they chased them up out of there into France. When they got to France, they was in France. And then what happens there is the French chased them up out of there because they were doing, we can show you pictures of this right here. Let me show you. This is what they was doing in France. And shout out my big bro Rod, because Rod showed me this receipt right here a long time ago. Right? This statue right here. All right, so this is allude to the fact of these guys and what they was doing. They still doing it right now. That's why you finding all these trucks with all these kids in the back. Right? You finding all these trucks with the kids in the back. These you finding all these places they having all these parts. Why? Because these same guys who the Medjays were chasing, they went to France, right? And then they was doing this, so the French chased them up out of there. And then they went to a place called Madrid. right? Check this out. They went to a place called Madrid, and that's Morocco, and that's where they set up one of their capitals. Keep in mind, everywhere they went, they set up an underground city because they like to stay underground. These guys, that's why they got all these underground cities. They like to stay underground. They don't like to come above ground. They use puppets and they use front man. That's what we're about to get into as we building up to this. When they got to Madrid, right? We're gonna stop sharing our screen. We might come back to something that we had to show you some more points. But when they got to Madrid, that's when they began to set up their capital. They number one main stronghold is in Morocco, right? And that's why they tell you, oh, this is Morocco, Madrid, this and it over here, right? West is screen west and this and it. No, this place is called Tamarians. That's what we called it. The Tamarians is our name. And we got Moors in us because they can't mix in with us. But we'll get into that in a little bit. These guys came and mixed in with us. These guys I'm telling you about, they mixed in with us so they can blend in with us. And then they use, because they whole game is infiltration. That's what their game is. Infiltrate them, take them over from the inside out. That's the reptilian agenda, right? And so when they got to Madrid, they set up they game. And then it's a place called Timbuktu, speeding all the way up to, take it back. I missed the part. Now this is how I got to go back, because they put on the white glove in 900 BC. That's when they put on the white glove. Now listen to what I'm telling you. They started using the pale face as their front man to be what they call a scapegoat. This is in their rules. Look in the Bible, the Jewish guys they have a scapegoat where they put all the sins and all the faults on this guy and make him be the fall guy for they dirt, right? And they do it every year. It's like a ritual they used to do back in the day. You can go read about this in the Jewish culture. But these guys go by the same format. That's why they came out with the Jesus story. Jesus is supposed to be a scapegoat, but take all the sins of the whole world, and they drive them off a cliff. So they said that, Judas threw himself off a cliff, but they hung Jesus or whatever on the cross, and they etc. We could get into all that. This was a little astronomy too, but you got the picture of the scapegoat idea, right? So they put on the white glove in 900 BC. Go get these guys, another name for them, they call themselves the Max, because they were your pimps. These 200 fallen guys, these dark-skinned guys that look like us, but they ain't us, they were your pimps, right? They put it in my pocket, right? That's what pimp, put it in my pocket, right? But so 900 BC, what happens is, before they came into ancient Kemet, they couldn't just come into ancient Kemet straight up, because we knew who they was, right? They had a mark on them, because Cain's seed had a mark on them. So we knew who they was. We can identify them, and when we seen them, we would kill them. That's what the rules were. Because Cain said, "Whoever find me, you're gonna kill me." And then we also said, "Well, whoever find them and do that, we're gonna do it. It'll be the same thing dealt with them." But that rule is that Cain had a mark on them, so these people had a mark on them, so we knew who they was. So they couldn't come directly straight up at us. So they had to have put a white glove on with the black hand, the cat's paw. And what they do is, during this time, and this is the truth. And like I say, when I say this, a lot of you that's listening that might be the pale face, a lot of you not white. There really no such thing as white people, technically. It's all status and ethnic groups. It's not race. Okay, keep that in mind. Another thing is, a lot of you are not Caucasian. Just because you're white. You can't claim to be white. You're not Caucasian. Caucasian is blonde hair, blue eyes. You don't got blonde hair, blue eyes, you're not a Caucasian. You got any color eye, like dark hair, black eye, brown eyes, you are mulatto. Let's get there. You a mulatto. Okay? Let's go on to the next thing. And if you check your blood type, if you O, come on now. Come on now. And we can get into the blood types too, the three main blood types, OBA, right? But these guys I'm talking about, they ain't O blood type, they B. These guys I'm talking about, the avatars, they B blood type. These guys, right? They ain't B O blood type. They ain't A blood type. A is the original people of the planet. They B. They came here. They the B. So if you got B, you got these people in you. The Hindus who got tiger blood, which they are carnivores. So if you got B blood type, you're supposed to eat meat. Okay, we gotta get into it. B blood type is carnivore blood type. A is herbivore. O is half and half. But if you O and you can manage to go because you don't need the people think that you got to get the main thing they talking about with meat, they say is protein. You don't got to get protein from meat. Elephants, rhinos are some of the strongest creatures on the planet, and they don't eat meat. And they get protein. What they get protein from. So don't let them fool you with, oh, if you don't just because you are you got to eat meat to get protein. You don't got to get that protein from meat. And then they're talking about protein is the building block, which is really protein is an acid, acidic, and protein actually break down. Or you can protein can actually converts into from acidic to build as a building block. You got to convert it. You can't just take protein into your body. Your body can convert protein into another substance. Right, that's what they don't want. I don't want to get too far in the health. I ain't no expert on it, but like I say, just on me studying Dr. Sabi and just going, doing my own little dig on it. Because, like I say, we a little bit only got our fingers in on everything, but still on the topic. These guys put the white glove on like this. They went to go start the Caucasians, and how they get that name is a mountain called the Caucus Asian Mountains in Russia, right? Caucus Asian in Asia, right? Asia on the continent of Asia, so it's called Caucus Mountain. How I got that name is these people lived up there, the Canaanites, and they lowlanders, right? They live at the bottom of the mountain, and they would bury their people, lay their people on the side of a mountain, and just let their body rot and let the sun deteriorate their body and let rigor mortis all that sit in at that their bodies just naturally deteriorate. Well, they didn't know how to bury their dead. After a little bit, after a couple hundreds of years, they started covering them with rocks. Get a whole bunch of rocks, pile them on top of them, stick a stick in the ground. They started getting that point. But in ancient Kemet, for thousands of years, we was already burying people. They found a mummy in America 9,000 years old. We was already burying people 9,000 years ago over in America. And Anubis found in America. So it's obviously that the burial ceremonies originated from America to over there to what you call in Egypt, right, today. This was ancient Kemet too. That's what they want to tell you. It's all was ancient Kemet. This land was all one big, beautiful land mass ran by us, right? But Caucasus Mountains, that's how they got the name Caucus Asians. And that's how they got the name Caucus. And eventually Imhotep designed the pig, crossbred 3 or 4 different animals together to create a hybrid type animal that would eat anything. And that's how you get the hog. And like I say, Elijah Muhammad goes in on that Luke 2 where he says that he crossbred the rat, the cat, and the dog, right? Because he got a rat tail. And we can get into that. But it actually wasn't a rat. It was actually 2 other animals. Because one is an animal called an anteater. And Imhotep took that animal. And it's another 2 more other beings that he took, crossbred them, and made this animal to go up there and eat. Pigs will eat anything. Right? The pigs will eat anything. You just put a little slop on it, throw it in there, they'll get rid of it for you. Right? And the mob used these guys to get their dirty work done. The mob used the pigs, hogs to get their dirty work done, right? When they want to get rid of a guy, right? But these going back to these Moors or the Black Hand, they used to go rope these Caucasians like wild animals, and rope them and then capture them, put a bag over their head, but they was only kidnapping the females at first. I got a book called Night in the Moorish Harlem. You want to get that book on the next stuff I'm about to say. The Night in the Moorish Harlem. You want to get that book on the stuff that I'm about to say next. So these Moors start capturing these Caucasian women and brought them back, and they would shave them up, clean them up real good, and then they start putting them into Harlems, which is another word for brothel. Brothel, right? We got to keep it clean. Brothel, and they start pretty much selling these women. That's where your first pimping stuff come from. And then so the Moors were the first pimps of these dark-skinned black hand guys. And so that's where they begin to get the idea to start using these guys as their fall guy or whatever they want, because the guys were freaks too. These black hand guys were freaks, right? So they were getting freaky with these people, these women, and some of them were having children with them, and this became your mulattoes. And some of these children got higher rank in the family because they were sons and daughters of these dark-skinned people who had money, the wealthy people, because the wealthy people had the slaves, was catching the Caucasian slaves, selling them. They got pictures of these people on leashes and things, man. You know, these Moors, they were doing the people dirty. The Moors were doing the Caucasians dirty, right? They were selling them just like slaves, just like they so-called said they did to you, which is partially not true what stuff they say, right? But the Moors did this to them. And then they start using their children. They start getting the capturing the males, if the males nicks, and they start cleaning them up, and then they start training them how to fight, and they start making them mercenaries. So instead of a smart Moor would go and capture 10 of these guys, right? Capture 10 of these wild guys, bring them back, shave them up, put them in a cage, train them, give them a treat, do all that, right? And then once he get them trained, once he get them to take commands, then he train them how to make a sword. Then he create his own military of some guys that's really savages that don't care about dying. They just go right into battle like robots. And then you wonder why they lined up like they did and play drums and march right into each other, shooting cannons and shit. We didn't fight like that. We ain't never fought like that. We be in trees. We be under the water. We be hiding in the swamp. We ain't never fought marching straight up. We fought guerrilla warfare. We ain't never fight line up in a line and march right into each other. Man, that's the Caucasian caveman. That's that caveman battle where they go fight sword to sword. We ain't never did that. We always got more. That's retarded. We hide in a tree. We hide under the ground. That's why they had a hard time with the Vietnamese. The Vietnamese didn't fight, line straight up and march right into the people. I'm telling you, man. We fought guerrilla warfare here on the land. That's how and we call it's other names for it too. Different. The guerrilla clan is the one that invented it. Shout out my big bro Rod. The guerrilla clan is the one that invented the guerrilla warfare. Right? So you'll put it together. But I'm getting to the talking about the black hand, right? For you people that's coming in, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Where was I? What was I saying? Yeah, so I'm talking about how they put the white glove on, right? So speeding up now, so now you get business how they brought these guys back in, and you started figuring like getting them in there. Then we speeding up to 1476, Timbuktu, right? This is when they really put on the white glove, and they shook the dirty Moors. The black hands shook hands with these guys, with the 11 tribes of Canaan. Really was 13, right? But the 11 sons, they shook hands with them and made them their front guys. And that's why when you read in Genesis chapter 9, verse 25, it said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant shall he be unto his brothers." Now, if you go to Leviticus chapter 13, verse 30, you'll read that these people had yellow, thin hair, blonde hair, and blue eyes, which is a trait of the albinos. It's in the Bible. Go read Leviticus chapter 14, verse 34, where it says, I put the plague of leprosy in the house of Canaan. And these guys became servant to some Hamites. Ham means burnt black. Go look it up. Burnt black. And these are the guys, the Mormon guys who try to say that was us, and we had the big lips and all that because a curse from God. It's in the doctrine of the Mormons. Go read it. Right? The same guys. These are the guys that put that out. Right? And they one of the names they call themselves secretly call themselves the Hamites. Now, when you get into the Ashkenazis and the Khazars and all them, they are the Canaanites. Because different tribes had, all of them didn't have blonde hair. Some of them had different colors hair. Doc pointed that out in the Holy Tablets. He had showed pictures of all of the sons in the Holy Tablets. You can read that for free in the links in the descriptions after the show. The whole 11, all the sons, right? So in Timbuktu, they shook hands with these guys and then taught them 2 degrees of the masonry and made them fellow craftsmen. And then in turn began to give them certain degrees, right, on the knuckles. A lot of this stuff, if you ain't square business, you'll see what I'm doing, right? And they started to get them a handshake. But we ain't shake hands with guys that didn't wipe their hands. Now, you talking about guys, you're talking about some guys who ate raw meat. They was in the caves, and they come out the caves at night because they didn't like the sun. The sun would put red spots on their skin. Lep spots, rose red. But the sun would burn them and put red spots on their skin. So they like coming out at night. They would come out in the daytime, they would come out at night. They were scared of fire, so they didn't cook their food. They ate their food raw. And you wonder why certain groups of people that's lighter eat raw sushi and all these different kinds of things, right? And it don't make them sick, but it'll make you sick. The real Nubians, it'll make you sick to eat that raw like that. But they can do it because they're a different blood type, right? But check this out. You don't really supposed to eat raw stuff like that, right? Check this out. So they were eating raw things and this and nature. And they were doing a whole bunch of other stuff that we're gonna want to get into that will be gruesome. But still to this very day, when they go out to order their steak, they don't want it well done. Nubians like their steak well done if you're a meat eater. But they like their steak 5 seconds on one side. They want a little blood oozing out their steak, right? And that's going back to the mountains, right? But speeding up, they taught these guys a couple hand signals, and then made them try to square them up a little bit, make them 90 degrees. They really never gave them 90. They gave them 33 degrees because the Moors stole 22 tablets, and then the York stole 11 tablets out of ancient Kemet, and then the Scottish Rite stole 22 tablets, giving you a 33 degrees. So it's 33 tablets that they stole out of ancient Kemet that Arab piked them to create this 33 degrees. There's no such thing. It's only really 3 degrees. It's only enter apprentice, fellow craftsman, and master mason. The rest of it is all honorary studies that they make. The Arab Pike, and Madame Velasquez, and all them coming down from the Theo Society. They made all that up later. Ask any real square business guy, he'll really know the truth. There's only 3 degrees. Everything else is honorary studies. Now, when you go into our degrees in the ancient mystical order of Melchizedek, there's 9 degrees, and it comes out to be 720 degrees, right? You make it up to 720 degrees in the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, right? And that's people don't even know nothing about that, right? And Doc was the first one that really started putting it out about the 720. Nobody really never even mentioned it, right? They was always talking about 33 to this, 33 that, 32 degrees that, and this, which 32 degrees is froze. Water freezes at 32 degrees. So that means that these guys who say 32 degrees, they can't tell you nothing because they froze. And then if they become 33 degrees, they can talk a little because their tongue is controlled, but they still walking around at 33 degrees, which is walking around like a dog. Dogs walk, which is why Yahshua said in the Bible that it's not meet to cast the. He said something about the dog. He referred to a Canaanite woman as a dog in the Bible. Go ahead, go read it. Go read it. Jesus said, he says it's not meet to cast the children's bread to dogs. And the Canaanite woman said, yeah, but even the dogs receive the crumbs from the master's table, connecting the Canaanites with the Canaanites. Yahshua connect Canaanites with Canaanites, Canaan, the dog, which is why all of them got dogs in their house and they let them lick them in the face and all that. I'm just telling you, man, this is straight facts. It is straight truth. And we just but if you see those people that's this color, they got them, they the ones that look like us, but ain't us. Unless they come from the Anubis clan. That's another clan. The ones that got the dogs. Most people that our rules was we had dogs, but we kept them outside. We never did let the rules in Islam. We never let dogs in our house, right? So we had dogs, but we didn't let them in our house. We had cats. We let cats inside, but we never let dogs inside, right? Cats could come inside, but the dogs couldn't in ancient Kemet, right? And the dogs were out for outside. And but let me keep on going. So they shook hands with these guys in 1497 in Timbuktu. And it's created your Rothschilds and your Rockefellers and your JP Morgans and your Lees in China and etc., who are all front families for the real guys who showed them the game. They call themselves Moors, but they also call themselves free white man on record. They showed them how to do this, right? And from this point, they promised them if they were to work for them and be their front man, they would give them wealth. They would make them in charge of the wealth, of their wealth, like trustees over their wealth. And so that's how you create the Rothschilds, and they become trustees over the Red Cross, which is the same symbol for Switzerland. Let's look it up. Hey, shout out my big brother Roy Hayes, man. Roy Hayes, one of my teachers, man. He the one that gave me the whole scoop. He put me in on the whole scoop on these guys, man. Shout out my big bro Roy, man. Hold on. I want to show y'all this real quick. Share screen. Entire screen. We might show y'all a couple things while we got this loaded up real quick. All right, so let's look up this. Let's look up flag with a red cross first. Red Cross is the ones that control the money through the Rothschilds, right? Through the Roman Empire, the Roman Catholic Church. All right, so this red cross right here, you see this red cross? All right, so this symbol is one of their symbols, these guys. That this symbol is the symbol for the money, where the money is. And they put these guys, the Rothschilds, as trustees over this symbol. Now let's go here. Now hold tight to the Knights of Templar symbol. Right? Let's look up there real quick. Hold on. See, they knew I was gonna go to it. Now look at this. This is Switzerland flag. And why they tell you about a Swiss bank account? And remember, I told you they went to Switzerland, these guys. Right? So look at that flag. Now look at this. And the Knights of Templar control, keep in mind, the Knights of Templar control the 1 mile in London, which control all the banks in the world. The banks that the banks, the central owned bank. Right? Now keep that in mind. As I'm showing you these symbols. Now look, the Knights of Templar. What symbol they got? And keep in mind, the Rothschilds are the Knights of Templar. I can show you if you go back and pull up a symbol. Well, I'm gonna show you, right? I'm gonna show you. I can show you better than I can tell you, like my granddad used to say, right? Look at this right here. All right, so that's the Knights of Templar symbol, the same cross, really, just inverted with the red, the same red cross. Now look at this. His name was watch this. I think his name was Amster or something like that. Hold on. All right, hold on. That ain't him. His name starts with an A. But these guys really are the Canaanites. The front mans for the real guys, who I'm going to show you in a minute. Yeah, okay. Amnesia Rothschild, I think is his name. It's spelled like this. Amnesia. I think like that. Yeah, okay. Here you go right here. All right. If you look at this symbol on his shirt, this is a Knights of Templar symbol. Blow that up. Can we blow that up bigger, Zeke? Can't make stuff like this up, man. This is the Rothschild who had the 5 sons, who sent his 5 sons out to control all the banks of the world. To make a long story short, he's a Knights of Templar. And the Knights of Templar is the same guys who, the Switzerland thing, all this is connected. The church, all of it is connected. Now, let me collect you some more. And there's his name. Right there, Mayor Rothschild. Right, he got a Knights of Templar sign around his neck. What's the odds of that? Now let's do this. Who are these guys? Who are these guys? Y'all see this? See the connection? Now, who are these guys? The Umbrella Corporation. Who are these guys, man? Remember, the Umbrella Corporation was on the zombie, the residential evil, the alchemists who creating bacteria and viruses to try to turn the people into zombies. So it stands to reason that the Knights of Templar must be alchemists, and they are the chemists. It's all gonna start to make sense to you right in a minute. Now let me show you another symbol. Corsica flag. Now look at this flag. Who on this flag right here? This is the nail in the coffin. Hey, Rod, I got him. Game over, Rod. Hey, Rod, we got him, Rod. Look at it. Hey, who on it? Is them guys white guys? Or pale guys? These are guys right here. They call them Corsicans. Now I'm about to put it together for you. These guys blacker than me and you. The Corsicans. Go back and watch that Bumpy Johnson series again, and then Bumpy Johnson said that he met the plug, and the plug was the Corsicans. The plug was the Corsicans, man. Go back and watch it. I think it was season 3? And these guys right here, they wouldn't sell to African Americans in America. They only would sell to the Italians. Why? Because the Italians are their children. The Italians are their children from Sicily. They are the Sicily. The dark-skinned Moors are the Sicily. They are the mob, the mafia. The original mob were dark-skinned Moors. The people. That's why them Italians can really wear gold and certain jewelry. It don't look good on certain pale guys, but on the Italians they can rock it. Why? Because they are of that descent, of dark-skinned descent. But this is saying, I'm putting all the things together. You see all the symbols. And who are these guys on the front right here? They ain't no white guys. They dark-skinned guys. They may look like us, but they ain't us. And they the plug. So why would these guys be pumping Doogie? We got to say Doogie. Hey, if somebody in the chat drop what Doogie is in the chat. We gotta somebody drop what Doogie is in the chat. They call it Doogie on Bumpy. Bumpy Johnson called it Doogie. Somebody drop what Doogie is in the chat for the people that's listening. These guys is the one that were pumping they're the alchemists. When you go back and watch Bumpy Johnson, come to find out the black guy who was from Madrid was the real plug. His name was Mossad. Hold on, let's pull that up. Let's get another screen while we're right here. Look. It's a series, but they got it's based on a true story out of Mimi's book, who is Bumpy Johnson's wife. Watch this. All right, so come to find out, okay, here this is the one of the scenes. Let me see, can I blow it up? The French Connect. It's called a French. Hey, this right here, the scene with the French Connect. All right, let me blow it up. I want to show you his name Mossad. Look, he one of them dirty jokers, man. I'm finna show you. Hold up. Watch this. Watch this, y'all. Hold on. I'm finna get him. Somebody say get him, y'all. Get him. I don't know if you can see this picture right here. But the guy, hold on, let me see. His name was Mossad. '89 or some shit like that. I can't find it. Hold on. This is it right here, but it ain't pulling it up. But I want to show you if you go back and watch that series for you had seen it. Hold on. Watch this. So, hey, now listen to this. This is the storyline right here, right? This is real Bumpy Johnson. This is real Bumpy Johnson. So it's based on a true. This is Bumpy, right? Bumpy said that the people and Bumpy was one of the biggest guys selling up in Harlem, right? Bumpy said that the Connect was Corsicans, and I found out why they end up dealing with Bumpy, because these guys are very thorough, and they did a background check on Bumpy and found out that he was connected with them, bloodline related. That he was one of the from that same bloodline. That's why they started messing with Bumpy, right? I found that out, and he was the one that was pumping drugs on the streets, right? But I want to show you this guy, Muur. Oh, it's not action, actors. Okay. Yeah, but to make a long story short, you can go watch that series, man. Hold on, let me stop sharing my screen real quick. I'll go back to that. But come to find out, the French guy, the white French guy, he was a front man for the black guy who was the real plug, right? The black guy was the real plug, from Madrid, but the French guy was his front man. Let me tell you how slick these jokers are. This dude was sitting there the whole time acting like he don't even speak English. Look, these people be speaking 2 or 3 languages. They speak Hebrew, or Hebrew not really a language, it's already Arab, right? But they speak in Jewish language, they speak in Arabic, they speak French, and they speak in English. But then when they get around you, they'll act like they don't even speak English, right? And so he was acting like he don't even speak English. And he had the French guy talking for him the whole time. And Bumpy Johnson thinking that the white guy was the plug. Come to find out, the white guy was working for the CIA. And so Bumpy killed the white guy. And when Bumpy killed the white guy, the French, the real plugs thanked him because he didn't know that his front man was working with the CIA or working with somebody. It was somebody that was against them because I believe they control the CIA, these guys, because it's the same symbol. The CIA got the same symbol. The Knights of Templar, all that was connected. Right, so it had to be another group or the FBI, some other group he was working for. It might have been military intelligence or something that he was working for, other than these guys. Right, that they ended up getting him. Bumpy killed the guy, and then the guy. That's what made Bumpy find favor with the Corsicans, and they started selling him 3,000 joints, 3,000 joints of Doogie. They wouldn't sell to African Americans. They said they don't want to do no business with African Americans. But they blacker than us, these guys. You know? And they own Black Rock and all that. These guys, Black Rock is their stuff. And they put on TV some puppet guy that look like a pale face. They got him talking for them. And they got their hand up his behind like a puppet telling them what to say. I'm telling you. And the mob worked for them because the mob is their children. They're the ones that send the mob to do shit for them. That's why the CIA connected with the mob. A lot of dirty work get done by the mob. And the mob go back to the Corsicans, the ones that got that red spot on it, red thing on their flag. Now, let's put this together. They said that the CIA allegedly was bringing all the drugs in. You know, with the George Bush, he was a CIA head guy, right? And the Knights of Templar are the ones that do the alchemy. So you got to mix stuff to make these drugs, and so you got to be an alchemist to cook it and mix all the stuff together. The alchemists are the Knights of Templar. So now put it together. That Red Cross, Knights of Templar, all these guys are connected with the black hand, white glove, cat's paw, who been using people using sometimes they'll pay our own people that's one of us to do us. Most time that's how they come. But the whole game plan was to send this scapegoat so that we can sit around and blame the pale man for everything that's all our problems, when our own problems is because we ain't on to the game. We forgot. We blame the pale man. The pale man doing this. The pale man ain't doing nothing but what he being told to do by Ham. He a servant to Ham. Go read Genesis chapter 9, verse 25. The Canaanite servants to his brother, the Hamites, burnt black niggas. That's on that flag I just showed you. Right? The burnt black cats on that flag, man. I'm telling you, man. And these are the guys the whole time that's trying to steal our birthrights. Jacob, the tricksters, trying to get us to sell our birthrights for a bowl of soup. And they hide in gated communities up in New Jersey because they call New Jersey New Jerusalem. Right? These guys. And then you go in some of their houses, it's decked out. They got underground mansions that look like a city in the inside. A little small miniature city where about 300-400 people can stay up in that joint. If you go over to some of their houses I seen what the inside of some of their houses look like, and my mouth was like this the whole time. Man, when I saw that one of them cats had a Kentucky Derby inside of his house, that was it for me. I said they got too much money. A whole horse racetrack inside of your house. I'm talking about if you ever been to the Kentucky Derby and then put that inside of your house, and that's just one part of your house. That's the part you go to just to play with the horses. You got another part where you got a whole swimming pool that's the size that look like 2 blocks. Then you got another spot. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Every day you can think of him, got to leave the house. And it's got marble floors imported from some outer space somewhere. And these niggas got gold faucets and gold toilets, gold sinks, everything gold. Whole mink covers on a bed that cost $500,000 just for the cover, and sheets made from 10,000 threaded sheets. The best shit you can find. I'm telling you, man. Mega mansions ain't even the word. They got mansions that make it. You got to come out. It ain't even a mansion no more. You got to come out with another word for it. This is a little small complex or something. It's a complex. It ain't even a mansion. It's a complex. This nigga got a whole Kentucky Derby in his house, man. When I seen that, I said, "This is crazy." And look, if these guys each family got they got this thing called 13 monkeys. The monkeys are like, they don't call them monkeys, they call them martistes. That's what they call, because they use names like this. Oh, he's a duke. These guys I'm talking about. Oh, he's a duke, or he's a martiste, or he's a earl. Because some of they names, some of them got the first name Earl. That's one of their names. And they came over here and stole our surnames, right? Stole our surnames that was on record, like Washington, and they become Earl Washington, or this and that. They still our names, right? But they were earls and dukes, and they came over here with boots on and cowboy hats or fezzes, right? One group came with fezzes, another group came with cowboy hats. That's the black conquistadors. They came with the boots and cowboy hats. See, even though we were cowboys all already over here, we didn't wear cowboy hats. We wore feathers and moccasins. They wore boots. And one group wore wooden shoes when they came over here, right? But what they did is, in order to start stealing everybody's birthrights around the land, these dark-haired black cat paw guys, they set up a thing called the Spanish Inquisition. Now, anybody like shout out Master Teacher Taj Tariq Bey, right? Anybody comment telling you anything about helping you out about your situation, and they don't come mention to tell you the Spanish Inquisition, they full of crap. They full of crap. You hear me? Right? The Spanish Inquisition is what starts the whole game plan on stealing your joints, stealing all your birthrights. Right? Shout out my baby kids. I see a lot of baby kids up in here. Shout out that boy Mason Baby. You know what I'm saying? He got my baby kids up in here. Yeah, so they go on along, shaking hands, Timbuktu, that's 1476, 1478. They set up the Spanish Inquisition. Does start them out, the Romans, the roaming around, the Arabs, the roaming around, stealing people land under a term they call as heresy, which is ancestral heresy, meaning you had connections to the land through your mitochondrial birthrights through the mother line. You had ties, princess on the princess and the daughters, princesses on the land had ties to the land through the mitochondrial birthrights through Big Mama on the land. So they wanted to cut. They said that was witchcraft. They turned that into witchcraft and warlocks and all kind of other names they had to burn you at the stake for doing it and set you on fire, right? And so thus start, they used the pale face under the term Vikings and other terms to go around and do their dirty work and say it was in the name of God, in the name of Jesus and the cross, the red cross that I just showed you. They took that cross, the Romans, and they went around the world, conquering the world under the Spanish Inquisition with that same damn cross I just showed you on the flag of the Corsicans, on the Moors, and keep in mind, not all Moors are dirty Moors. I gotta make that clear too. I'm a Moor, right? We are Moors, the Washita Moors. We are Moors. So all the Moors weren't dirty. Abraham wasn't a dirty Moor. He was actually one of the good ones. That's why Melchizedek dealt with Abraham, right? You can say Abraham didn't exist, right? We could get into that, but what did they get the storyline from? Then they must have got it from some being that exists. So his name might have wasn't Abraham, but yeah, it might have was something else, right? But we're just making a point. Abraham was a good Moor. Lot was a good Moor. The Bible alludes to those facts because Lot dad was Abraham's brother, and they both were from Ur, Chaldea, and that makes them Moors. So it was good Moors and they were dirty Moors. The dirty Moors we call you had good pirates and bad pirates. They labeled us as the Moors as pirates. The pirates are really jackers, and I'll get into the pirates on this tape. Don't let me forget. Bring that back up. In fact, what I'm saying, I'll lead up to the pirates. But the pirates wasn't the bad guys, right? The pirates were the guys. It depends on who perspective, right? What perspective you're looking from when you say the pirates were the bad guys, right? The pirates were the Moors, right? The ones who had to knew how to sail using the stars. They got taught that by the 200 fallen, though. We can get into that, but it's like different perspectives on that. But I'm getting up to they conquered that world with that cross, that same red cross that I showed you on all them flags. And they came bringing us religion in exchange for our birthrights. They told us we'll get a pie if you give us your land and gold. You gonna get a pie in the sky when you get to the sky. You'll die and go to heaven, and you're gonna get in the kingdom of heaven. That's what they gave us, right? And in exchange, and in the meanwhile, put some in my hand, put some gold in my hand for telling you this. And we did. And it wasn't no problem to us because we had truckloads of it. We'll give you a couple of handfuls. You can't. Matter of fact, here we'll give you more than you can carry. You remember on Nino Brown, Blue Jack City when Chris Rock played Pookie, right? Came and said, "Man, are you gonna give me on the turkey, right?" And they can say, "Here, gave him a whole turkey, right?" That's how he was. When they came over here, they said, "Oh, you complaining about what we gave you, huh? We put enough on your boat to almost sink it. We'll put enough gold on that boat to sink it." Ask Mansa Musa and Abu Bakr II. They came from Africa to America and became the richest guys that ever lived. So you telling me Africa had all the gold? Something don't add up here. Mansa Musa is still the richest guy to ever live on record today. And he came from Africa, you say, to America to get gold, then went back over there and became the richest guy in America. In fact, in a book I got by Dr. John Henry Clark called I think it's called Christopher Columbus Holocaust. No, it's another one. I got the Christopher Columbus Holocaust. It's another one called somebody. I'll think of it in a minute. But it's another book where he talks about in that book. He talks about Mansa Musa going to flood the economy. Mansa Musa came over here and got gold and went back over there and flooded the economy. Right? Mansa Musa was a Moor. They were Malachian Moors from West Africa. They came over here and mixed in. They were good Moors. Mansa Musa and Abu Bakr and them were good Moors. Right? So you got good Moors and bad Moors. I just want to make that clear for the people that's listening. The bad Moors we call morons. Right? And they were the ones that sold us out. Right? And so 1478, Spanish Inquisition, leading all the way up. And at this time, there were no white gods. There were no, Zeus was a black dude at this time. And I know my Moors, though, you still using the word black. Be cool. Zeus was a dark-skinned guy at this time. There wasn't no pale-faced gods before 1478. Really, it wasn't no pale gods until the 1600s. Because they didn't even have a leg. They still was being puppeted by these guys starting in 1478. Now, 1492, going up now, we leading up to 1492. The Moors getting sacked by Queen Isabella and Ferdinand them under the Spanish Inquisition. Keep in mind, these people were mulattoes. They wasn't pale guys. They were the children of the Corsicans. Queen Isabella was children of the Corsicans. They front mans. They mulatto. They were mulattoes. Light-skinned people that look like Obama. Queen Isabella was a light-skinned chick. And Fernand, they were light-skinned like Obama's color, a little lighter. Okay? And they sacked Granada. Now, before this time, we never even really seen paleface on this side. We never even seen paleface on this side on America until maybe like early, maybe 1500s. We ain't never seen the paleface till the 1500s over here. They couldn't even come over here until after 1492. Why they couldn't come over here? Because there were beings called pirates, who were the Moors, who if you was see on when you selling on the sea, you had to have a seal from an empress or from some ruler that's saying this is my stuff. If you touch it, I'm gonna send a military out to you. You gotta have some what they call not pull some guys backing you, or no, that's another word for it. Somebody that say, okay, this is my stuff, you know, if you touch this, you're gonna have some problems, right? That type of thing, right? So, but if you tried to sell over here and you didn't have that, these pirates will be out there waiting, and they will raid your ship, and then if they didn't like you, they'll make you walk the plank, take everything on your ship and burn it, take the women and children onto their ship as slaves and servants, and they make all the men walk the plank with their hands tied behind their back, right? And that's how these Moors, and Captain Jack Sparrow, who they made a movie about called Pirates of the Caribbean, was a Nubian brother. Pull up the picture of the real Captain Jack Sparrow. He was from the Caribbean islands. He was a Moor. Okay, and they was attracting these Caucasians who tried to sell over here. They couldn't sell over here till after Marco Polo could sell to the east, but they couldn't sell to. They were selling to the east at first, but then they couldn't sell over here till after Queen Isabella got that seal from Granada. Now she can seal paperwork, and when the pirates see it, they thinking it's coming from the Moors. They ain't knowing that it's coming from that Granada had been sacked by these other people, and that they sending the goods. Oh, they sending people over here. So 1492, Queen. That's why you get the Christopher Columbus coming to America, which he actually sailed to the islands first, right? And but before then, they wasn't no pale guards over here. We ain't never seen no pale guard, let alone the pale man. Period. Before then, and that's a fact. And to be a fact, Christopher Columbus was a mulatto, and the guys that helped him sell over here were Moors, and they helped them sell over here almost under gunpoint. Let me explain. See, April Fool's Day, which is I think is just happening, right? April finna come up. April Fool's Day finna come up. Don't celebrate April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day is a slaughtering. It's a genocide. That's what it is, right? Of the Moors in Granada. So let me give you a story let me give you the story of a real quick synopsis of the April Fool's Day. So Queen Isabella and them, after they sacked Granada, they get ready to let the Moors that survive. They said that they were gonna let them get on boats and sail off to America, but they couldn't let them do that because if them Moors would have sailed over here, they would have told the Moors over here that hey, they just took Granada, man. We under siege, and that would have caused a riffraff in the whole plan of these black hand guys who were using these guys as the fall guy, right? So what happens? Listen now. What happens is they let them get on the boat, and as soon as they get on the boat, they cannon all of them and blow them up, set them on, and burn their houses that they was in to the ground. And the ones that could navigate, they kept them and held their family in hostage in prison. And they said that you gonna help us navigate over to this new world so we can discover it, because it was already people over here. We already know that. I mean, that ain't no rocket science no more, right? Or was it people already over for Christopher Columbus? I already got to beat you over the head about that, right? But I'm just saying, so he can discover the America for them, for this race, not for us. We was already here thousands of years, if not billions. We was already over here for billions. Okay, so they get over here. That's the first wave. Really, really, I'm gonna tell you. Even them landing on Plymouth Rock, there was all Moors. These guys, the Black Hand was the guys who landed on Plymouth Rock. When Malcolm X said, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us. That's what really got them took out, because these Jewish Black Hand guys, they call themselves more Zionist Jews, they the ones that was the pilgrims who landed on Plymouth Rock. And they the guys that started manipulating. Look at a book called North Carolina's Native American to Colored People. Well, I got that book too. It's about that thick. That book ain't cheap neither. It's about like almost 100 books, I think. I got that book too, though. Okay, so what I was going to tell you. Yeah, so really Caucasians didn't come over here, and shout out my like I say, everybody that's, if you ain't blonde hair, blue eyes, you're really not Caucasian, technically, you know. But the Moors brought the Caucasians over here as slaves, as prisoners, really. And they really did the Caucasians dirty. And the first wave of them to come over here, let me tell you this. The first wave of them to be sent over here by the Black Hand, and the Black Hands had came over here, and the 13 colonies was we had allowed them to set up on them colonies because we had been fighting with them, and they were trying to steal our land for a long time. But how they got them 13 colonies is they mixed in with us. And so when they mixed in with us, we allowed them to get that, stay in that area and set up their business or whatever they was doing, right? And that's how they got in with us. But then when they did that, they wanted to take this land and they trying to turn it into farmland so they can make money off of it. So at first they were forming tobacco. That's was like tobacco was one of our main products over here, right? And but they were lazy and they had no rhythm because they can't dance. They like robots and them avatars. Imagine a robot or somebody trying to a being trying to control a human, and he ain't like a baby. He ain't used to it, so they don't really got no rhythm. That's how you can tell who they are. You put the music on, they can't really dance. Some of them Africans can't dance. The ones that can dance, that's with us. They with us. The Africans, when you cut the music on, they offbeat, trying to figure out what's going on. Like the Hindus, them guys that I'm talking about. These guys, right? Doc said, if you want to find out who they are, cut the music on and tell them to dance. And you can find a lot of so-called white people who think they white, but they can dance their behind off. I'm talking about just like Nubians. Them brothers really Nubians. I'm telling you, just look like the dude. Shout out the dude, white folks in Memphis. He an Albano, but he with the Nubians, right? Albanos are Nubians, right? What I was saying. So the first wave of them to come over here came over here as prisoners, and they worked the tobacco farms and picked cotton for the Moors. And that was in 1715. 1715 is when they first started coming over here. That's when we first started really seeing pale faces. And they were coming over as prisoners to the guys who we lend the land to right there in the 13 colonies. The original 13 colonies were dark-skinned Zionist Jews, Moors. And they brought these guys over as prisoners and made them work their farms because they were lazy. They didn't want hard workers like us. They lazy. They want to sit in the office in the AC and watch everybody else work. These guys, because they say, "Oh, we the chosen people. We the royal people. We in-lives, we God, children of God. We don't gotta do no work." You know what I'm saying? These guys. And so they had a guy out there. They brought this guy over here and made him do the work. Now what happens is about 60 years go by of them study lying to the pale man, telling them that, hey, we're gonna let you go and we're gonna give you some land and everything over here where you can be on your own. They kept telling them that for about 60 years, And to the pale man said, you know what? They some liars. And they some really crooks. And they've been trying to, and we don't want to work for them no more. So this started the American Revolution. And we helped the pale man fight against the dirty Moors who had came over here and was stealing and killing our children and eating our children, stealing our land the whole time. We helped the pale man in 1775 during the American Revolution. We helped them fight against the dark-skinned Moors who will coming to steal our shit. I'm telling you, man. And some of you Moors, you might not be familiar with all this because you was missing the part about the black hand, the Moor runs, right? Shout out my big bro Rod, free Malachi York, right? And so they brought them over here working as slaves. These people got mad because they were getting cheated, and they started the American Revolution. The American Revolution were pale mans fighting against the dark Moors to get their freedom from King George III, who was a Moor. King George was a new. Pull up. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me show you a picture of what King George looked like. So I keep on forgetting we can go to the internet, right? All right, so they show you this guy. They made because Horace Greeley and Walter Pleckers, they paint everybody as Caucasian in history. They wipe us out, right? All right, here you go, right here. Here you go, a picture of him right here. They got this book in the Library of Congress. I mean, they got this picture in the Library of Congress as King George. Somebody snuck in there and took a picture out of a book that they got in there, and this right here was the picture they had in there, King George. So King George was a Moor. King George was a Afar. The Williams, King George Williams. You see? So this Williams son had Caucasians coming over here as slaves, as their slaves, these Moors. And they got mad at King George and said, you know what, that's what the Boston Tea Party really was all about. And they telling you that some Caucasians dressed up like natives. Caucasians can't dress up like natives because they were Caucasians. The natives were Nubians. So it had to be Nubians that dressed up like the natives over here, and they could pass for us, but they ain't us. And they did the Boston Tea Party. It couldn't have been Caucasians because they wouldn't have been passed as natives. That's just a fact. So here go King George. He's the one that had the slaves, Caucasian slaves, and he was in the Buckingham Palace before they killed him, and his whole family got wiped out. His son, look, this King George. Let me show you what the last son that was. It's one son that survived that came over here and changed his name. Right? It's one son that survived. They sent him to America and he changed his name. This is him right here. And they changed the dates on him, but this is one of King George's sons right here. A lot of this stuff, you say, oh, where you get all this from, man? But it'll come back to you later. His name was Frederick Douglass Williams. King George's son that came over to America to hide from the Rothschilds and the Knights of Templar who was hunting them down. And they also named him Nat Turner in a synopsis. Let me show you. Watch this. Look at this. They say this is Nat Turner right here. Looks like Frederick Douglass to me. Nat Turner, right? This is Nat Turner, which is King George's son, the same name. Frederick Douglass, Nat Turner is the same guy because he changed his name a lot, running from the Knights of Templar, hunting them down. And the reason why he was able to come to America is because he went to school in America. King George sent his son over here to go to school in America. Go read about it. Go read about King George sending one of his sons to America to go to school. So Frederick Douglass, who was really Frederick Douglass Williams, the King George's son, was familiar with the American tribes. That's why he was able to come over here. Let's think about this. Why is Frederick Douglass so high up back in the 1800s when they telling you this was slaves? They telling you that these people were slaves. It was slaves. How he got so much high esteem back in slavery time? Why he wearing the $1 million this high dollar suit during slavery time? He just a regular guy, right? So people might think, oh, you're young, reaching. This man, look, this stuff has been out. The government know. So another one of his sons, the last son that survived, looked just like this guy. The last son that survived looked like this guy. And in fact, I believe that this guy is a direct descendant of King George III. This is how Prince Edwards, the real Prince Edwards that got took out by the Knights of Templar, who they say that is Queen Victoria's dad. This is how he looked. Just like this dude. He had the Willows Peak Outlet. This was King George's last surviving son who was over the Navy, who came back when Queen Victoria was about to be born, and they killed, he come up dead when he was about to go back and say, oh, Queen Victoria is not my daughter. That's not my daughter. I was been gone. How is she pregnant? That's not my daughter. Boom, he got killed. He looked just like this dude. And this trait right here with the receding hairline, and this come from a certain group of beings called the Danakel. They live in the center of the earth. They came to the surface and mixed with the Afar people, who are the Williams. A lot of this stuff, you got to go back and roll it back, man. This shit might be too heavy duty. But King George looked just like this dude. And they try to say that from this dude, right? Hold on, let me show you. It won't let me go back on that one. They're trying to say from this dude, right? This lady, a dude that looked just like this dude, that this lady was born, and this how the royal family get into this lady was his daughter. They're trying to say that this lady was a mulatto and that this is his daughter. But you could clearly look at this lady and tell she Deru. Right? Queen Victoria was a Deru princess. She was a hybrid Deru princess. And this is where the other Georges and Queen Elizabeth come down from her. She's not queen. She's not a direct descendant of King George III. That's a lie. They usurped the throne from the Moors and put her in place. And from her, that's the people you see up in there now. But this lady was a Deru, which is the obesity gene. She was 400 pounds on one picture. Look at how big she is. And to keep in mind, she part reptilian. Look at the eyes. You can see the slit in the eyes. You can't make this up. Look at her eyes. They reptilian. She a reptilian. She's not a human. Look. So the reptilians hybrids usurped the throne after they got rid of King Edwards, Prince Edwards. See part reptilian, man. You can look and tell. I mean, you can't make this up, man. Who are these people? Front man for the Black Hand. But these another group. The reptilians are a separate group, though, although they family members because they are reptilians when it comes down to it. But you can look at it, you can clearly see she reptilian. Okay, so what else we want to tell you? Let's get up out of this. So, like I say, the first people that out before her, that so they didn't really. That was 1837, and then you begin to understand why. Once that happened, they began to do the things with Sudan and the Mahdi, and all that coming into play. For you people that's familiar with for my students of Dr. York, and familiar with the teachers of the Mahdi, which is like Doc's great granddad. Right. So I think that's all we wanted to bring to you tonight. We've been on about 1 hour and 30. We got any questions? We'll probably do a part 2 to this. But to make the long story short, these guys use the pale man as the scapegoat. And they the ones standing right next to us with their hand in our pockets. And they saying, oh, the white man did it. He did it. He responsible. That some of them clans, some of the Caucasian clans are just as guilty as the guys that son them, but some of them just don't even know what they got into. You know what I'm saying with these guys, and not all Caucasians working with these guys. Keep that in mind too. We help fight. The Caucasians help us fight these guys to get them off our land. But that didn't work because that didn't work. Because we always just been too nice. We always been too nice, man. To everybody that came on our land, we was always nice and giving. That's why they called us Indian givers. But you better go look up what Indian giving really is. You better go understand what Indian giving is really all about. Yeah, we let you hold it. See, we ain't give it to you. And some people say, "Oh, we ain't Indians," because they heard Taj Tariq Bey said. And shout out Taj Tariq Bey. Taj Tariq Bey only teach more science. And I hear him tell. It's a lot of stuff I hear him saying that's new. That I say, "Oh yeah, he must listen to us," because he wasn't talking about the Sabines or none of that until recently. But here's the thing. Taj Tariq Bey said we're not Indians. Indians are from India. And that is true. From Hindustan is another place they call it, right? But keep in mind, those same Hindus came over and mixed in with us, which is why you don't got nappy, woolly hair no more like the Twa man and the Sands man. You got curvy, wavy hair. You could get waves. You could put a wave cap on like Imhotep, who was mixed with these same guys, who was Moor. Imhotep was a Moor. So the Moors built the pyramids because they say that Imhotep built the oldest pyramid. So if Imhotep built the old pyramid, Imhotep was a far Moor. So that means the Moors built the pyramids. We want to get into that? Anybody want to dance on that? Anybody want this on that? We can get more into it, but I got like 10, 15 tapes already on this stuff. What else I want to say? Yeah, Harrison's is the same as Williams, because Harris is a part of them families of the Fall people. Harris, Jackson. So, but Harris' son is the son of Harris. So you pretty much Harris' son is the same as Harris, and the Harrises is the same family as the Fall people. So just trace it all the way back. Unless you part of the Harrises that stole our surnames. We really didn't go by our surnames over here. We went by spiritual signs. Like you got my spiritual sign is Black Hawk. Rod's spiritual sign is the ape, right? The gorilla. And some people have more than one zoo type. Another one of my zoo types is a lion. Right, the lion. It's actually in my name. Lion is actually in my name. What else we got, man? What else y'all got? Shout out Detroit. But keep in mind, the guys who doing us, man, and puppeting the whole thing, they the color of my phone right here, man. They the color of the back of my phone. I'm telling you, man. And they say that, oh yeah, you know, we say, hey man, ain't y'all the same as us? Oh no, we ain't black. We free white man. I'm telling you, man. And they got a lot of money, and they don't wear jewelry and all that. They be billionaires. They don't even walk around with jewelry on, none of that. They walk around dressed like in a robe and a white turban, and they look like they just got through praying or something. But they the dirtiest jokers around, because they the ones that's manipulating the government and the lobbyists and the whole damn Federal Reserve System. And then look, I'm gonna tell you who these guys are. And a long time ago in the neighborhood, one of them lived in my neighborhood, right? And I'm gonna tell you how they are. We used to play football in the street, right? We used to play football in the street, and this guy, he stayed on that street, and he would call the police on us. He was a Nubian. He would call the police on us. The police would come out there and tell us, "Oh, you can't be playing in the street," right? And then we'll ask the police who called, "Oh, we can't tell you that." But then the dude, when the police leave, right, he'll come out there and say, "Man, what happened?" And we say, "Well, somebody called the police on us." He say, "Somebody called the police on y'all? Who called the police?" And the whole time he called the police on us. The whole time. He the one called the police and said that we were playing football in the street. We found out. So that's what they do. They'll be the one that call the police on you and then walk up and act standing there right with you like, somebody call the police on us. And they the ones that call the police on all of us. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, these guys. So it's like that part. So on that note, man, everybody get up out of here. We over time. Anyway. I got a meeting at 12 o'clock. Somebody get up out of here, man. Peace and love and harmony throughout the balanced universe to all. Free Dr. Malachi York. We out. Peace.